All right, we're moving on to talk about classes and IDs. So far, you've seen that when you have a rule with a selector that simply states the tag's name, such as H1 or P, the rule is going to be applied to every instance of that tag. You've also seen that to be more specific in the selection process, you can use a contextual selector, and you can specify tags within which target tags must be contained, so you can become more specific using the contextual selectors. You can also target specific areas of your document by adding IDs and classes to the tags in your XHTML markup. IDs and classes give you another approach to styling your document without regard for the document hierarchy so much, so you don't have to keep that in mind when you're using classes and IDs, and they can be very useful. Let's go ahead and let's just look at this little bit of code that I have right here. Basically, this code generates this page, which is just a simple page with a H2 tag and two paragraph tags. Within those two paragraph tags, well, within one of them anyways, I have a span around the word regardless, and then both my H2 and my paragraph have a class assigned to them of special. Basically, the class is just another way of assigning a name to something. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to create some styles so that we can see how the classes, and we'll talk about IDs here too, are going to affect our markup. So I'm going to go ahead and add a style, and I need to add a type of text, CSS. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close the style tag, and I'll open my comment tag. I'll close my comment tag, and I'll close my style tag. So now I'm all set up to start creating my styles within this document. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to first of all just set a style for paragraphs. So I'm going to make a paragraph style, so I do P, and we will go ahead and style the font family. So I'm going to go ahead and type font family, colon, and then I need to specify what, so we're just going to use Helvetica Sans Serif. I'm not going to go as deep as going to Arial there. Semicolon to terminate that. So if I save the page and if I refresh within the browser, we know what's going to happen. My paragraph tags are going to turn to a sans serif font, specifically Helvetica. My H2 tag stays at the default font of Times, and it basically has no additional markup because we haven't styled that. What we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and we're going to style our classes. And notice again, I have a class that is assigned to an H2 and to a P tag. So when you style classes, you're just going to precede the name of the class by a period. So I just type period special, and then I can go ahead and I can be specific about what I want to have happen here. So all of our special classes are going to have a font weight of bold. So I'll go ahead and type font weight, and I'll make that bold. And let's also just give it a color. So I'm going to go ahead and specify color, and I'm going to specify a color of 09F, which is another way of picking 0099FF. You can abbreviate. Since these characters repeat right here, I can just write it like this. And so that's what I want to do. I'm going to terminate with a semicolon, and I'll save, and let's refresh in the browser. And you can see what happens here. My paragraph that has the special class assigned to it becomes bold and blue. My header, which actually was already bold just because that's inherent of being a header, but it becomes blue too. So anything with the special class assigned to it now is going to display as bold and blue. The text that doesn't have the class on it, this second paragraph that we have, or the first paragraph actually, it basically it doesn't do anything because it has no style that's been assigned to it. You can also see that I have the word regardless here that is within a span tag, and again, it's not really doing anything because I haven't explicitly styled that at all. Now, if I want to go ahead and make a change here and be more specific to the paragraph, I can go ahead and I can start to specify a style that is specific for a paragraph with the special class assigned to it. So this time I'm going to type p dot special, and what this is telling my HTML page to do is to target any paragraph that has the special class. And let's just go ahead and let's change the color. So I'm going to specify color here, and we'll have the color be, I'm going to use 696, which is a green color, and I'll save. So what we can anticipate that's going to happen is the paragraph that has the special class should now be green in our browser. So if I save my file and refresh, you can see that now this turns green right here. I can take this a step farther by getting more specific and saying any paragraph that has the special class assigned to it that contains a span tag, I want something else to happen, and I'm going to have my font style become italic. So now if we save our page and refresh, this word right here, regardless, becomes italic. So this is really, again, a powerful feature in CSS. It's a benefit because you can use a class without regard for the tag in which it belongs. You're basically escaping the inheritance constraints of the hierarchy when you use classes. And then in addition, you can use classes to be more specific depending on what you're trying to do. Now, when you write, once you've specified within your XHTML that something has a class name assigned to it, to go ahead and target it, you just type a period before that name in CSS. Now, IDs are written very similarly to classes. The only real difference is that you are going to use a hash mark in your CSS as opposed to a period. So let me just show you right here. Like if I go ahead and I make my H2 be an ID, and let's just call it an ID of, just call it bigger, okay? So if I save my file here and we refresh in the browser, you can see that the blue style has been removed from this H2 tag, and that's because I've now assigned an ID. If I want to style the ID, all I do is I go ahead and I type hash, and then I type the name of the ID, so in this case bigger. Then I'm going to do my opening and closing curly brace, and right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write some sort of style. So let's go ahead and let's write a font size, and let's just put, I don't know, 36 pixels or something like that. Hopefully that'll be bigger than my H2 so we can see what's happening here. So if I go ahead and I save my page and I refresh, you can see that now this text becomes much bigger, size 36. The only real difference is that all in all, IDs are probably a little bit more powerful than classes. You can think of it like when you're playing chess, how the queen is, ultimately more powerful than many of the other players. You can only use a single instance of a particular ID on any given page. Classes can appear multiple times, and we've seen that happening in this example because before we had a class of special in the paragraph, we had a class of special appear in the H2. IDs you can only use once, so once I use my bigger ID here, I can only use that one time. If I want something else to be bigger, I would have to change this to a class or give it a new class name and then write a new rule for it. IDs are helpful because if you want to identify a unique piece of your page's markup, such as like the main menu's navigation or something like that, you would want to use an ID. If you want to identify the number of paragraphs in a page that all require the same sort of styling, then it would be more beneficial to use a class. It is possible to use multiple IDs on a web page, but each one needs to have its own unique name. IDs are also used to enable JavaScript to be targeted onto a specific tag. and that is unique to IDs. And that's pretty much the difference between IDs and classes. So as we go on and learn about CSS, I just wanted you to become familiar with IDs and classes because they are going to become important and we will use them a lot. It's really nice to be able to give your XHTML elements a unique name and then therefore having them belong to a particular style or class, and then you can apply styles to all the elements that have that particular name. And that's basically what you're doing when you use classes and IDs.